It's actually so nice to hear your voice.
It's so good to hear yours. I mean, it's not been such a long time, but it just seems like a long time. I am thinking about my mom, who was born in the coldest place on earth in Yakutia. And there was nature there. That was the beauty that she had. And she would tell me, you need to see the sunrise and sunset to live a full day. If you don't, you haven't really lived the day properly. And I think about my grandma, and that lived in the mountains in Czech Republic. Then I can see it again and just think about my childhood walking through the woods. How I would come with like real uncertainties in relationships and really like broken family and stress that I felt. And then walking through the woods and having my grandma just accept me and love me. And she had this kind of respect and care for everything living, but also for like not wasting, let's say, potato peelings or carrot peelings. She would carry them to the neighbor when we didn't have rabbits anymore, so that the goat could have it. Like she would put eggshells on the rose bush roots and things like that. I think that in this world that's so out of balance and it's such a hurting burger right now.
A hurting burger?
It's an American expression that I heard from some of my friends. To me, finding the woods or mountains or water everywhere that we live was very, 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 very important. And when we were in the middle of the city in Baku, it would be again the sunrise and sunset. So when we lived in Altai, that's where you were born, there was the river Katun, and you loved that river. It's just such a pure, clear, like mountain river. And it truly was a warm home. And people loved coming and singing and praising, and new songs were born in our home. And you were born in our home, and you were born in the water. And it was really wonderful because when you're giving birth, the warm water makes your contractions stronger, so it brings the baby faster. But it also makes the contractions less painful. So it's like a win-win. Yeah, and I could see that the cord was tied around your neck, and maybe that's why you were coming so slow, because, there was a danger if it was fast that something could break. But nothing broke, but you were a little purple in your face, and I could just, because it was water, I could just slip that cord over your head and hold you, and you just, you got the right color, and you didn't have to cry because there was just no reason to cry. You were breathing. You were with me. We were in a warm water, and everything was fine. Seeing the nature awake after the winter in Siberia was beautiful. And I mean, even the winter in Siberia was beautiful. And when you think about it, snow is water as well, except that the snowflakes are just so unique and so beautiful. But anyway, so the water that was in Siberia with my mom was River Lena. And then for her mom living in her old age was River Aldan. After Azerbaijan, and you remember this too, it was Kyrgyzstan, and it was the snow-capped mountains just above the village that we lived in, but the river and the tree. And the river and the tree was where we would go to just really get the spiritual dimension of our life, because when we walked there, we could just sense how everything that was heavy, everything that was sharp in our lives could just float down the river and be cleansed from us. For the Creator, He's outside of time and can see it all together. And so it doesn't really matter, younger, older, it's all in the circle of life. And that tree was a very special tree as well. And we would go there with the dogs, and the dogs are so much part of our lives too. And I just really believe that, yes, we did rescue them, but they were sent to us for comfort and for joy and for just learning so much about what is really the enjoyment of life.
Mama.
Is it, yeah?
Do you know what that reminds me of? What you just said about the, like, how we rescued them or whatever? On our way, and this goes to show something about synchronicities, and how things just happen to just align in a certain way.
Yeah.
But when Dad and I were driving to the airport in Minnesota, we stopped at like a restaurant, and the car in front of us had a sticker on it, and it was a sticker of a paw, and it said, "Who rescued who?"
There you go. There you go. And so our next water is the Lake Superior, like the sea. When I sent pictures to Czech Republic, they're like, wow, this is like sea, it's not almost like a lake. But I just love this lake, and I just can't believe we live in such a beauty. And the trees and just the air and the changing seasons, it's just so beautiful. So I'm so grateful that when you came, that you were willing to get up and watch 5 consecutive sunrises, because I longed for you to be there in Isikol when we saw the sunrises. And now it happened in Lake Superior. So I guess everything has its own time, and that was the time that was full for you to come and experience the beauty of sunrise on the Gichigami. Gichigami is big water in Ojibwe, and that is the bay that we live on. And you got to walk on it in the winter. So you can walk on the water in the winter because it freezes so beautifully. But anyway, just that my name Galina actually means a peaceful level of the sea, like the water. So,
Wow.
I mean, what I was thinking about, first of all, was like the spiritual cleansing, where you can just leave everything heavy or sharp and the water's going to take it. But it's the same for our body. And so in the summer, I think it was the most comfortable way to be was being immersed in the water for me. And I know that it was helping my knees, my arthritic knees, to feel good and not to carry the weight of my body. Lately, I have felt really tight muscles. It was like walking on stilts in my legs. And the water, when I am swimming, just totally takes that away. Beach, and it was already getting dark. And we would walk to the tip where we used to walk for the sunrise with you. And we stopped there, and guess what happened? The moon was rising. So the moon rose. And yeah, we took our clothes off and we swam in the path of the rising moon. And I think those things are unforgettable. It's just such moments that, take away the worries and, the bills, the pressures, the rat race, all the things that happen in the city and in the busy lives. And you just can leave that behind when you are immersed in the water and when you can swim, especially in the path of the rising sun. Okay, so the breath. Breath is something we would give up last to live, right? You cannot always change your situation or leave it. And you can't always go away from the place you're at. But you can always, always take a deep breath and calm your mind and calm your body. And the singing, well, to me, melody is an expression of being grateful, and it's a language that transcends any language, and it touches hearts. And when I sing in the morning, whichever language it is, if it is Avestan or Ojibwe or Kyrgyz or Altai or Czech, it's always an expression of gratefulness for life and the sun and the water and the air. They are something that make life possible, that actually are part of life. So to me, a human being alive and feeling it deeply, like it sings. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and it's interesting because it not only answers my question, but now I'm, that made me tear up a bit. And as I was feeling that, I realized tears are like warm water and feeling and expression being released from the body, being released.
Yeah.
I've almost felt as if going on these walks in the morning feels like a moment of time travel in a way, because when we connect with that water, we're connecting with all water. And water exists in a sense outside of time, sometimes, in the sense that all of the same water that has ever existed on this earth is still here today and will be for the rest of our lives and for time in the future, forever. Water cannot be created or destroyed. It exists. And so when we pay attention to the water and we come back to the water, we're coming back to our ancestors and we're coming to our descendants and we're coming to time itself. and deeply engaging with that. It's a very spiritual practice, and it's a very healing practice. And it reminds me how we can be healing generational trauma by experiencing the water, because there have been moments in our lineage where that hasn't necessarily been the case, where, like you said, not everyone had the same blessing that we had of being able to go to the water in the morning and to take that time. And
So it's life. It is like you're outside of time. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and the connectedness of all the earth and all the water is important, because that's what joins all the far places. It's one earth and one water, even though it comes in different forms, whether it's tea with raspberry in it, hot tea, or whether it's being able to swim or take a shower or even wash your face. But I had to remember 7 generations back. But like, I love this thing about Ojibwe, that they're actually looking for 7 generations ahead. So it's like when Altai and Ojibwe come together, it's the completeness somehow of the 7 and 7 generations.
wow.
Like the past and us in the middle of it. So it's like, it's really special. It's special. And it's not like we should idealize anyone, but there are some cares that the native people have.
And Nebizun actually is the word for medicine, but it's also the word for water. And those are not separate in the Abenaki language. And I know that as a linguist, that's something that maybe you'll enjoy hearing.
Spokojnej nocy, dobranoc.
Dobranoc. Пока-пока. Люблю тебя.
Пока. Я тебя тоже. Пока, доченька золотая моя. Пока.
Mahajardam kaidam kele Yardam maha asman çerdi jarakhan Enirden